Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 322, and today we're doing battle in a Singleton Daily Rumble. And so, this video will release on the first day of the Runeterra Open, and I'm playing the deck that I intend to take across this weekend. And so if you're a regular follower of the channel, you know that I've been quite happy with these Aatrox and Demacia shells. We've been doing a lot of playing with Shurima and playing with Kayn, and those are all well and good, but I had initially thought that I was just going to play the Shurima version. I really like having access to Action and Sivir. I like having access to Rite of Negation. You even get things like Quicksand, which are quite good against the Pursuit of Perfection decks. But I really kind of tried to spread my wings over the past few days. We looked towards playing Shadow Isles for the Hallowed mechanic and Gwen and all of her friends and all of the other cards that tie in with that. And I was supremely happy with how all of that panned out. And I'm looking to actually fit in Shadow Isles as our third faction. So we're going to be playing Aatrox, Demacia, Shadow Isles today. And we can pull that up and talk about it a little bit more. And so, some of the interesting things that we get out of Shadow Isles. Again, first and foremost, we do have access to the Hallowed package. I really liked Hallowed in the sense that your card quality tends to drop in this format, right? If you want to play an aggro deck, if you want to play a Legion Rearguard based deck, sure, you can get 6 or 7 good 1-drops together, but if you want to get up to that 10 to 12 range of 1-drops, you're going to start playing some turds. And so, the idea we initially had with Hallowed was that even if your units are bad, if you're able to give those units +2, +3 attack with Hallowed, that makes them much better than anything else along the curve. And so I've been quite happy with the addition of Gwen and all the Hallowed cards. And then it is kind of nice that cards like Opulent Foyer tie in nicely with the Hallowed theme, or I'm sorry, with the Demacia theme, to where we have the scouts to generate us extra attack tokens, which generate us extra ghastly bands. And then we have challengers out of Demacia that get much stronger as you apply those hallowed bonuses to it. And so that was first thing, number one, that I was kind of interested in with jumping into Shadow Isles. Number two is actually playing the Darkened Halberd. I felt like across all of our mid-rangey style decks, you just never had anything to sacrifice, and you were giving up pretty much the most powerful late-game equipment to not play those. And so adding in Shadow Isles does give us some very sacrificable units, which then in turn gives us access to Taraj. Quite happy about that. Another way to come in and try and combat a lot of these mid-rangey themes is with Kindred. If you find yourself in the space to where your opponent is playing in an Aatrox equipment deck as well, if you can lock a Kindred onto the board, it's pretty much just game over. And so I love having access to the beast here. And then, of course, we get excellent removal spells along the way. The classical Vengeance, the things like Vile Feast and Hate Spike making their way in, and then a touch of card draw with the Glimpse Beyond. Quite happy to have all of that. The package I do really want to call out and make note of here is going to be Silence and Suppress and Quietus. I really suspect this to be a very Aatrox-heavy format, and having access to both very cheap equipment removal spells is quite strong. If we get to spend 1 mana to destroy your 2 mana equipment, that's an absolutely fine deal. If we get more value out of it on top of that, double good. Excellent happies to have all of that. Last but not least, before we dive in, with the unit package, again, we're playing all of the Hallowed units, or I should say we're at least playing all of the good Hallowed units, a handful of challengers, and then some value generators between cards like Egghead Researcher generating dragons, and then, what's your name? What's your name? I had the card draw bro in here. I can't. Ceaseless Sentry. There he is, the new guy, freshly in the Shadow Isles, giving us an additional target for our equipment and a little bit of value along the way. And so that's it. That's the deck we're going to be doing battle with today. Let's head on into the Gauntlet, see if we can't achieve victory before the big day. So good stuff. Good stuff. I'm kind of ready for Singleton to be done. I've had some fun with it, but I'm ready for the rotation to hit, and I'm ready for the new cards to get here. It's exciting times coming up. All right. So up to battle, up against the old Seraphine decks. Wouldn't be surprised to see this be a Cataclysm type number, but we'll see what actually turns up here. Not a bad start though with the Opulent Foyer and Gwen. Not a particularly aggressive one, but it does give us a good amount of power. Mastai and Disciple, you're getting Vile Feasted, bro. Probably not a terrible target for something like Silence and Suppress either, but you don't expect a lot of equipment to come out of this deck. But we'll pop off the Vile Feast to start. Gonna get him. Incoming spell. It's not that bad. Not that bad. Didn't get the cycle off of the Pale Cascade, so they do get to protect the Shimon Wind, but no extra value coming out of the spells there. All right, let's start up with the foyers. I typically like to play the foyer on the opposing turn. Gets you that extra dude to go with it, but you know, if we're going to continue to play on curve here, not really what we're going to be looking to do. All right. Fresh Silence target. Not that bad taking down Eye of the Dragon. It's usually pretty good against what we're offering up, and so getting that stupid little dragonling out of the way, it's kind of nice. I'm not upset about it, you know. I get upset about a lot of things, but that's not one of them.
It is time.
Bringing in the attack, sure. Pausing to think if I want to actually just drop Kindred here, so if there's some kind of removal spell onto the Spiderling, it gets gets a good reason to not do it, but doesn't look like it's going to play out that way. Interesting space though if we want to actually get the Kindred on the board. We have the Keeper of the Box Darkened Lodestone, which is you know. The thing I'm trying to get at is, like, if the opponent is going to get like one removal spell, right? I would prefer them to play their one removal spell on 2 mana as opposed to playing their one removal spell on 4 mana. And so if they're going to have Aftershock in hand, I would prefer for our Kindred to be a little bit protected. But now that we just picked up the bird, lets us pick on some of these other units here. I'm looking to play the bird and then the Darkened Lodestone so that we can attack down some of these 1-healthers here. So also, assuming it doesn't get removed, which it just did, would give us the additional attack token for the foyer. Alright, we surviving that one? Well, good as it's getting. Good as it's getting. Unfortunately, Keeper of the Box doesn't have lifesteal at this point, but still not a bad attack.
I hate traffic.
Would be nice to pop off with just a little bit more power here, though. Opponents had quite a bit of time to stall through this game. And a pass. Interesting. Interesting. V stands for violence. A little painful. I was trying to line this up to where we could still have access to the Kindred. Like it was pretty obvious that opponent was probably going to play another card, right? They're not just passing with their 7 mana frequently. But I was expecting it to be a removal spell and not just a big Vi coming in, and so a little bit painful, but we're still strong here. Her blocks suck. We have the Glimpse Beyond and the Kindred to start attacking some of these units on board. We gotta do some work quick. Gotta get that work done quick. All right, Shimon Wind coming in, sure thing. Interesting. Well, the squad looks good, right? We got the 5-attack Hallowed unit. Everyone else is big enough to do battle with Vi. Let's get on in there. Not really excited about dropping Darkened Lodestones here. I would, as this game has progressed kind of far along, I think we're wanting to just drop Harazi at this point. So if we can put a Harazi onto Gwen or something, give her some spell shield, gives her some extra protection in her attacks here. Gonna have a removal spell for Gwen. That's not very nice. It's not what a nice person would be doing. Alright, he blocks Gwen. Gets our first tick up on old Kindred. Kindred will pop the Eye of the Dragon, which will then die in combat. Maybe we can find ourselves in a space to where, pick up a single combat or something and kill off one of the small units. Let's see. Vi's definitely ready to smash next turn, so we're gonna be playing this Glimpse Beyond at some point. Yeah, I'm ultimately just concerned here. We're gonna get hit by a Pursuit of Perfection. This game has drug on pretty far. We aren't really threatening lethals. We're gonna have a tough time even killing next turn, assuming that our Gwen doesn't get the attack in. I'm a little concerned. Our World Ender out of Aatrox is gonna cost like 14 at this point. It should actually still be at the full 16. We haven't struck with a single equipment this game, and so bit of a bummer there. Well, let's see what happens. Equipment's turning up now. We could potentially punch in with some overwhelms. Ooh, they just go bar. Interesting. It's like killing off our units at this point kinda sucks, but like I think we're just kind of stuck here. We can add in Harazi, attack next turn with Harazi boosting up Gwen. I'm not entirely certain how this interaction works together. Oh shit, he's still got his Vi attack. I was gonna say, in terms of if we attack with Harazi, it gets the Hallowed boost, then supports Gwen. I think it should work like that, so we're not going to get to pull it off, but I think that Harazi would attack as an 11. He would then support Gwen to an 11 going left to right, and then she would get the second Hallowed. I think that's how it would work. I've been wrong before. We'll be wrong again, but I think that's it. Interesting. Gwen comes back to hand. Okay. Seraphine. She's got to be... Oh, she's only at 6 spells? Interesting. I'm still curious if we can pull this off next turn. Gwen seems like she's just going to be a little slow. Definitely going for that Seraphine flip here. Alright, what you got for us, game? Hate Spike. Not quite what we're looking for.
What a strange, wonderful world.
We could have looked to play the Darkened Bloodletters here. It just strikes me as being too slow. So I wasn't particularly excited about it. Poor Gwen. Poor Gwen. None of his units are really worth trying to take down.
Witness the cosmos. We do not linger.
Hi, friends. Well, that's about as good as it's gonna get, I guess. Send something in here.
You cannot hold us down. Strike the blade. Light stage and
Is that an unworthy soul on a unit with a spell shield? I didn't see where that went. Breaking the spell shield onto Kindred. Okay. I'll allow it.
One to remember us by.
So this is tough. Like, I think we just have to pass here. We are in this kind of spot to where we could look to like hate spiked away a smaller unit and then killed off the husk with the just absolutely not. Then killed off the husk with the darkened bloodletters. I just don't think that's the way it's gonna pop off here. But with this, we want to use Harazi. We can't have this. we can't have this Dawn and Dusk landing on Vi. That's going to be a bit bonkers. And so I want to make sure our spell shielded unit is the one trying to take down Vi. It's not that big of a deal to lose out on Harazi at this point. But holy shit, are you getting strong enough? Oh, you got to be kidding me. Oh my god, it's only going to deal 6 to Vi? Okay. Alright. Whew, brutal. Brutal. But I'm happy with the space we were in, though, as that game kind of trudged along. As you're getting to the space to where the opposing deck has has a flipped Seraphine and a back alley bar on the board. You've lost the game at that point. You got a little bit of a chance to pull it off, but we didn't really have the early game pressure you need to be taking down the Seraphine decks. Not a problem though. On to the next one. All right, a different flavor of Seraphine, this time with the Freylordian companions. Sounds good. I'm going to get rid of the Blinding Assault here. It's good in our deck, but it needs a little bit of help to do work, and so I wanted to come out and try and find an equipment to go along with our better attackers here. Reasonable collection of dudes. Just need a little bit of that interactivity thing everybody's talking about. One could call single combat a bit of that interactivity thing. But we'll get Elisa in. She's the most effective unit here. Opponent's probably not going to be able to block her. And then generating the Spiderlings is pretty good if we do manage to find Tarash or something for the Glimpse Beyond. It's been nice having these additional unit generators that you don't get playing out of the other factions. All right, not a bad collection of friends here. See if he drops the Spirits Unleashed on us. Nope. Nope. That's kind of an interesting spot to where the most expensive card in our hand costed 3. It's kind of wild to actually see it come together like that. But here, I'm planning on stopping with this. We'll see if he spends any more mana. Like, if he tries to kill our blocking Badger Bear, then we can just kill off Acorn. I don't want to be taking a bunch of Acorn damage here. So we should be safe at this point. Now we can look to put the Darkened Harpoon onto the Keeper of the Box. Maybe we just wait till next turn. It's like we have all these nice Fearsomes. I would like to be getting a Fearsome attack in. Alright, I'm going to go with the Butler. I mean, we could even look to put the Harpoon onto the Badger Bear and just have all the other Fearsomes roll through. Maybe that's the way to go about it. Like, if he wants to be in a spot to trade with the Badger Bear at this point, I think that's completely fine. Concussive Palm comes in. Do we care if we lose any of our Fearsomes here? I don't think so. Like, these aren't particularly high-valued units. I don't want to spend our removal spells on them.
A voice from within. Pulse now.
So if we lose our Elise, it's not the end of the world.
Your attack is obvious.
Alright, not bad. I just wanted the Elise to go down so we could rekindle the best unit in the game, right? That was our game plan. Learning from the master, if you will. But let's see if we can't take down the Donger. He's a bit of a scary guy. I don't want to be dealing with him too much. He goes the flash freeze route. That's okay. We can still look to... We're going to have the equipment come back into hand, and then we can put the equipment on Phantom Butler, have it try and take down the Donger. He's most certainly getting some units on board here, so... can't do too much in the way of that. There we go. I just can't click good. There we go. And then do we want to bother with the Quietus? Like, the thing I'm considering is if we want to, say, play the Darken Harpoon next turn and attack without a fearsome blocker, then we have it, then we're probably not going to find, like, too many targets for it, right? He has these champions in here, but the rest of his cards just aren't that good. So I think it's okay to skip over. Could look to add the Rekindler in here. He's not terrible. We can make a big Elise off of the Darken Halberd and still have pretty good attacks for the round. I think I'm on board with that. It's like, we got to watch ourselves. We're getting pretty close to this point to where we're just going to play the big equipment. So we'll kill an ally, equip our Elise. Probably want to harpoon something as well. Say just the Rekindler. None of his units are currently big enough to kill it. Oh, we had a Hallowed bonus. I forgot about that one. We should have probably put the bonus onto Elise, but... a little bit of a whoopsies.
Just kill me.
Alright, making our way through. Foyer turns up along with a catch. Alright. At least lets us catch up a little bit here in cards. We were about to just, completely run out of stuff to do. And now that we pick up the Foyer, things get a little bit better. I think we'll want to lead off with the Quietus, though. We'll go ahead and just drop it onto Acorn. The block into Victor, not great. He has picked up Elusive into Quick Attack, and so we'll probably just take the damage from him. But that kind of opens up the Badger Bear to be attacking next turn. Then for the rest of the way here, so much Vi today. For the rest of the way here, I was going to say we can drop the Foyer and then just glimpse beyond the unit, but... looks like we'll be glimpse beyonding whatever Vi brings her hooks into. Brutal. It's like I almost want to just be glimpse beyonding one of these units in the back line so that we can make the big dudes, the Darken. Alright, though. We'll see what this next turn brings us. I mean, if we just get to the spot to where we have Tarash on the board, that might be enough to recover through. So go to attack with all of our friends again. We'll leave the blocking Badger Bear back. No reason to just be sending attacks in with him. And then if he kills off either our Elise or our Rekindler, we should have the big equipments coming back for the next turn. Okay, interesting. Really kind of surprised to see everybody go down. That's not how I thought that was going to be. But sure.
Where there is life, there is hope.
Scary stuff. Scary stuff. Got those karma flips coming on the next turn. I wonder if he was expecting Ibaros to be so big. Say, I see your 10 attack Vi. Here comes a 12-12. Okay. And an elusive. Makes sense. Not surprised. Let's see what kind of shenanigans we run into now. So we got Tarash. This is like the one of the bigger reasons I'm wanting to move into Shadow Isles. Not specifically, like we can play Tarash in all of the other decks though, but it's a Dark and Halberd's kind of tough to fit into the decks to where it's tough to fit into decks to where so he's going to vie into our Tarash. Does that make sense? But I lost my train of thought on this one.
I don't need a plan. Freeze.
Holy shit, he's just going for the kill? Are we dead? Oh, I forgot about you, Badger Bear. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. That was bad. Okay. Whew, these have been painful. Not the way I was expecting these to start. I guess, that's tough to kind of visualize the way that's happening in the sense that the overwhelm's coming in onto Vi and needing to sacrifice off the 1 health unit. That's rough. All right, though. See if we can't recover a little bit. Got another Karma deck on the way. Hang on to our 1-drop in our equipment. See if we can't run this event back. I gotta save my respect for myself. I gotta unlock some wins here. That's pretty reasonable start. Get the Elise and the Elkin. Assuming he doesn't have a way to interact with the little spiderling, we have a nice unit to sacrifice off to the halberd. Good stuff. More along the lines of how we're expecting these games to start. What do we got? Great collection of friends here. It would be nice to get the Blinding Assault with the Halberd on it on this next turn. See how much mana they spend. Keeper of the Masks is not a unit we're afraid of. Let's see. It's a little dangerous just dropping Halberds onto Valor. Well, if he's dropping his removal spells now, that's a positive for the home team. So we'll kill an ally, equip the bird. See if we can't get some sweet attacks happening next round. My attacks are always the sweetest, so I know we can do it. That's the confidence you need to get through the games, am I right? I think that's it. I think that's it. What you got for us? Something coming in. Drop a removal spell on our Valor.
With a little time, I'll have a breakthrough.
We'll see. I'm going to drop the Lodestone this turn. Here's the Mystic Shot. Okay. And so I was going to say, with the Lodestone, we might be able to protect the Valor up to 1 health. It's not critical. It's probably even just a little bit too dangerous, but we're still looking strong. This is what feels good when you like so much of this format is just about generating enough value, as you have to run up against these Seraphine decks that are just chock full of removal, and so it's a really tough space to just be getting 1-for-1 because they have a lot more card advantage than you do. But when you play your rando Egghead Researcher into Eclipse Dragon and then the Eclipse Dragon generating 2 cards, you say, I'll show you how you do the value, Seraphine. I got a thing or two to deliver in terms of input. Alright, not bad here. We picked up a Foyer. We can sacrifice off the unit to boost the Elkin. It slows us down in terms of our Vayne just a little bit. But I mean, there's no arguing with the sweet amounts of stats that we just got on the board. We got a lethal presented here. If we want to take it. I think we probably do. We can look to make tumble plays after the fact. Like, we still have the mana. If he spends a bunch of mana on removal spells here, say kills off the Researcher and the Ghastly Band, we can still play Vayne and tumble off the Elkin, potentially getting a win that way. Star Shaping's not enough, my friend. Not enough. Let's go, Vayne. Aw, he's got another unit. Fucking drum solo, am I right? I'm right.
Demons walk among us, masquerading as men.
I'm trying to envision if we want to tumble or if we want to single combat. Since I think we want to tumble because we're just going to get another tumble next turn. So ideally, say he like plays another unit, we can single combat the unit and then play the tumble as we need. And just make sure we have something to do over and over and over again. Too bad none of these units have scout. that would be the way to stick it to them, am I right? But no, I think we're in pretty good shape here. Interesting. Well, if you don't want to play a unit, we'll just tumble. I think the Vayne is reasonable enough to send in. Getting the extra equipment on board is kind of nice. Should be punching in for 2, even if he's got a removal for Vayne. And then if he doesn't, we're at the lethal. We get the KO. He's got to have something. He just passed with 7 mana up. But sure. I did the mathematics on that one, and that was pretty expensive. And so we did lose out on quite a bit. We lost the Vayne and the equipment, but we're looking strong here. We got 4 units next turn. He has to answer every single one of them. And then if this fails for whatever reason, we still have the single combat Eclipse Dragon to follow up with and just slam more stuff onto the board. All right. Victory achieved. Can't lose every single game, right? That's not the way it works. You can't just lose 100%. All right. On to the next one. So it's tough. With the decks like this and trying to balance all the numbers and everything. I've honestly been considering playing things like Loyal Badger Bear, just to have some more of those stats. And since like every single deck we're going to play against is a Seraphine deck, the way that they tend to struggle against your units is your units just having a ton of health. And so it's very easy for these opposing decks to deal with something like Phantom Butler, more challenging for them to deal with a 3-4 or a 4-4. And so I'm kind of considering moving into a little bit of a heavier unit package, if you will. But I haven't quite decided on the numbers for that. But here, we'll add in the Butler. If he gets to survive and then also get the Bloodletters, that will feel pretty good. But with opponent adding Ballistic Bot, probably our preferred target for the Quietus. We'll give it a round. Like, I don't know if he ever just like pops the Phantom Butler. That's kind of an odd space. Like we would prefer the Phantom Butler to
There's nothing to
become a Darken when he dies, you know? Alright, well here's the squad, ready for battle. All the fearsomes ready to do it. Interesting, all the birds too.
you won't suffer long.
We'll just go ahead and send it in. We're getting to this space to where the banked up mana is gonna be pretty decent.
We made it.
Oh, Vengeance is gone. Ripperino. All right, we'll see. We'll see if we can't carry on our fearsome theme here. We got this bird ready to load up with the fearsome. Just straight up attack. You know, if the bird gets to come in and draw 2, I think that's a pretty decent deal. We just attack into this 2-attack board and get to do all the card draw. I like it. Get down there, bird. Show them what you're about. I say, this is gonna be lame, isn't it? Definitely. Boo. Alright, well, I guess the harpoon's coming in. We want to put it on Elise. Like, it's unfortunate if they have something like a Hex Obliterator to kill the Elise and to get the equipment off of it. Kind of is what it is at this point.
Split her out from the darkness.
The recall onto Seraphine. Of course. I accept it, and I'll allow it. So many card draws. I wish I could do that. Someone teach me to do all these card draws. Give me the teachings, please. Alright, so who wants to feast on the Darkened Halberd? As far as his attacks go, he probably wants to be hooking in Elise with the Protege. I guess Elise is a pretty reasonable target for the Halberd. And makes the rest of his hooks not as good. I don't think we even really care. Well, It's a bit of a bummer. Yeah, that's where we should be going, right? We want to take this Darkened Harpoon that's on Elise and put it somewhere else. So let's kill an ally. We'll equip the Elise. She's now going to be a pretty monstrous unit at the 4/5 space. She has the Fearsome, then we can replay the Darkened Harpoon onto Aatrox or whatever, right? What a reasonable target, you know? Just slap it on old Aatrox. Could look to silence and suppress this Protege as well. If we wanted to go for that, we couldn't have played the Boisterous Host. I think this is fine as it is. Sure. I'll allow it. Sure. That's been allowed too. Alright, fearsome fam. Let's let's get y'all into battle. Let's get y'all into battle. And so who do we want to put the Hallowed on? Oh, we don't even have Hallowed at this point? I just assumed we had Hallowed. Alright, we got our big crew of fearsomes rolling on through. His units on board can't block him. Hopefully that's enough to overcome the opposition here. Spells are coming in though. I'm a little scared. Not big scared, just a little scared. 3 spells, oh my. Oh my. Maybe old Bus should have been big scared about this. Double bounce and a burn spell.
I hear you, son. Now you're
That's frightening. All right, my dude.
that one.
Scary stuff. So let's see. Let's get some dudes on board. Still, nobody died for the Rekindler. That's a bit of a bummer. But how else are we going to go about this? We're not casting the World Ender, so we need to just be adding our friends back to the board. Elise seems good. I just want to get as much width here as we can. I'm not even particularly worried about this protege killing stuff. So let's kill an ally, equip another one. Got that big friend on the board. Then who's left? You know, I don't think we want to hook in the protege. We can deal with that nonsense later. Attempt to deal with that nonsense later. Clear that up for you. Picked up a single combat. Would love to get this Seraphine off of the board. I don't even remember what spells we've played. I assume there's something relevant in there. Maybe not. I know we made us discard our Vengeance, so that I don't have to worry about that one. Alright, Seraphine down. Moon Boy turns up. Wonder what nonsense he's going to bring to the table. I think I'd prefer to wait to see him play a spell first. So let's drop in the Aatrox, and then if he wants to try and drop Gravitum onto our Dark Enthrall or something, we can Hate Spike after the fact into Aphelios. And then we should still have this point of mana to silence and suppress the protege so that it doesn't get to block a Fearsome next turn. I think I'm kind of still on this kick to where I want to remove his Fearsome blockers. We'll see how it plays out. But we might find ourselves not being able to open attack next turn. Hurry up so I can kill you, bro. Aatrox bringing the heat in here. So he goes Gravitum. Alright. Let's continue on with this plan. Is this thing just like fleeting forever? Oh my gosh, I didn't realize this was going to be a thing. Alright. Oh, I think we have to play it. We can't just drop it as Tarash. So we'll kill an ally, equip our Elise. We could technically be open attacking this next turn, but that just strikes me as too dangerous. I don't know, I mean, it's like I guess we've cleared out their Seraphine, but it just seems like it's asking to fail. I'm just like leaning more towards now just dropping a Darkened Harp, get the Striatu going. The open here, that's just way too scary, right? So we open attack, he has a block onto Elise, a block onto Aatrox. He plays Rando's spell on the Dark Enthrall, and then that's it for his day, right? He's getting to cruise into this next turn pretty much unimpaired, and so I don't think we can really risk that. Anyway, let's keep at it. Let's see, is that enough? You say, alright fam, I had enough of this. I'm getting my Fearsome Elise through. That's all we need. That's all we need. All right, girl, it's on you. It's on you. Oof. Oof. She was enough. She was enough. GG, my friends. GG.
Now we feast.
All right. On to the next one. These games are tough. Like, I feel like these are exceptionally tough for me to kind of come in and commentate. It's like, as you're playing a typical constructed match, you know that there's this like limited selection of spells that you actually have to play around. But when you're in a space like this, to where they're playing literally one of just absolute everything, and then on top of that, they're playing a bunch of manifest cards and card creation stuff out of Seraphine. It's just too tough. I think it's easy to just assume that, okay, he's probably got a removal spell of some sort here, but it's just it's like information overload in terms of what's actually coming at you. All right, but up to battle against Zed, some kind of tokensy deck with Hecarim and Azir. I like what you're about, my dude. This is definitely different than what we've been seeing, and I think we want to make sure we open up with some units here. I usually like to keep a nice balance of equipments and units, but I think things like the Dark and Halberd are going to hamstring us in this match, where we just need to get dudes on the board, and then once they're on the board, we can, you know, kind of stop the opposing game plan. It's like playing elites against anti-gen kind of thing, to where if we can just put bigger units down than they have, we can probably grind it out. I think that's what we'll be running into here. All right, gonna lead out with the Butler. We can look to Vile Feast the old Treasure Seeker next turn. As it stands, Treasure Seeker can't interact with the Butler, or he needs a spell to do it. More than happily take a 2-for-1 with him. Ooh, even better target for Vile Feast. Does anyone miss the days of Green Glade Duo being in the Premier decks? You want to go back to those days of Poppy Zed and the old Bang Bros, if you will, and have some fun with that. All right, what do we got? Opponent thinking real hard on that 0 mana, preparing for the next turn of excitement. I feel you. I get you. People be doing that.
You are nothing. Worthless. Impress me.
All right, well, I'm looking to just drop it all here. I don't want to let this domination get to hang out on the board, so we're looking to just hate spike her as well. It is a little... Oh, shit, he's just attacking? Interesting. It is a little... It is a little concerning with this Warded Husk having Spell Shield, but we are starting to run out of stuff to do, and so maybe it's not a complete problem. Him getting to load up a unit with the shield. What? Who doesn't know the name Laurent? Get ready for it. Laurent getting his fury on. Say, Shyvana and your dragon friends don't hang out with the Laurent protege here. But this is where it's at. He's ready. He's ready. So interesting. Do they have bursty units? Is there some burst unit we have to worry about with this space? I don't think so. And even if there is, it's not going to be enough to kill off the protege. So that feels like a pretty big win of a turn for us, getting to take down the sparring student and remove that spell shield. I like it. And then the thing we're going to be looking for here, if you want to stop and imagine 2 turns from now, we're ideally going to be playing the Eternal Dancers along with the Cataclysm. And so if that's a play we want to make 2 turns from now, we can only spend 3 mana on this turn, right? So we get the 2 bank into next turn. Is that the way we want to go? We're just going to add Vayne. Seems reasonable.
Monsters still lurk in Demacia's every shadow.
All right, fairly ignorable Waking Sands. We'll just take the 5. I guess the rest of the Waking Sands will be bigger at this point, but I'm going to file that under the don't care section of my tax return. I hope you all have one of those, you know, the don't care section of your tax return. Government asks you, hey bust, how much money did you make? Don't care, stop asking questions. It's none of your business, bro. That's what we're telling. All right, we do pick up Gwen, but I think the Eternal Dancers are just going to be way too good here. It's like regardless of what unit he plays, we can get a safe attack with the Dancers and then get a safe Cataclysm after the fact. And then looking at next turn, we have the Tumbles for Vayne, or Tumbles for the Eternal Dancers again. It's all just going to be too good. Is that where we want? We at Hallowed 0? Certainly are. Ooh, look at that. Summoning the Spiderling. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. Look out. Spiderling coming through. At least losing the Laurent Protege gives us a bigger unit. I was expecting this to be much more spectacular. I knew we got into some combats, but I didn't track how bad our units actually were. I just assumed we'd lost a 3-3 at this point, and we were going to have a pretty exciting attack rolling through. Nope. Won't be the first time old Bust is just straight up wrong. All right, we should be okay here though. We got the tumble onto the bird. Picking up the Darkened Halberd will give us just a giant attacker out of this as well. I think we're good. I think we're good. Oh man, I was trying to hydrate. Alright, we can do it now. We're fast enough. Alright, let's get that tumble rumbling. Delightful collection of stats. Look at that. If you just tumble it onto the board, you don't have to kill off any of your own units. Ooh, look at you, Valor. Doing your thing. Quinbird bringing out the thunder. I dig it. Spellstones. Okay. Pick up a crumble, but he can't crumble until after combat. I dig it. I think we're doing it, fam. I think we're good. Sure. You fought hard today, Vayne. At the end of the day, just wasn't enough. Get to come back, though. That's good right there, right? Vayne on the comeback. He says, I kill your Vayne. You say, Ghost Vayne got something different to say about that. The old Ghost Vayne's coming through and finishing off the work. All right, GG. Dive on into the next one. Whew. Did you all have a delightful St. Patrick's Day? St. Patrick's Day today here for me. Wearing green just because it's the shirt I chose, not because it's the holiday of sorts, and so don't need your input in that sense. Just so you know, it was a unintentional choice of sort of green. All right, let's see how this goes. I was kind of questionable in whether or not I wanted to hang on to 2 equipment, but I did it. We didn't get punished because we picked up the Redeemed Prodigy, but I was curious if instead of saying picking up the Prodigy, we just picked up another unit, then we were really going to regret what was happening with the turn. Or if we picked up another equipment and just hard passing into Vayne. Hey, I got one of those. We didn't stop to think about it very much, but if he attacks there, do we actually come in for a block? That's kind of tough, right? If he has a lot of access to sharp sight, it's like it feels like if he's attacking us, then he's probably just got something, right? So I think it's okay to just pass there. But now that we picked up the Darken Harp on this turn, I'm looking to just switch over into Vayne. So if we get Vayne on board, load her up with the Harp, and with get the free quick attacks with the Cataclysms and stuff, I think we're looking pretty strong here.
First light illuminates the land.
So he's only got 2 mana behind. The stun is fine. It's a little scary sending this Tumble in, right? If he's got a combat trick, this is going to fail. What if instead of tumbling Vayne, we just harp onto the bear? Now we can Cataclysm the bear in. Shit, that was too slow. I messed this up. We should have put the ballista onto. We should have put the ballista onto Vayne, and then after that we could have, you know, if she just died, then fine. But that was a bit sloppy there. I also forgot we had Hallowed, and so not my finest moment, but I think we're still in pretty decent shape. Let's continue on with the big boys. It's like he's going to have to play a big unit at this point, right? And it's pretty tough for his big unit to actually be able to win these combats. So let's continue to send him on in. Aatrox falls here. It's not a big deal. Single combat. Okay. I accept it. And we're almost to the point of being able to drop our Darken. We can just start playing Giral 2 turns from now, getting or Anaka now, but Striatu was looking decent. They all tie in quite nicely with the tumble.
I pray time has mended you, Captain.
Alright, no blocks, my dude. Let's see what we can do. So do we want to, like, the Striatu is pretty big, right? This is the 8 attack quick attack, and then we can attack with it and tumble it. Like, we're a little bit farther away from the lethal than I would like at this point. I think this is the way we want to go. And then it leaves us in this space to where his follow-ups aren't that strong. So is this how we want to do? Are we convinced we want to make this tumble play? I think this is fine. Pretty close to just being lethal. Alright, he's got to make a block, sure. See if he's got the old double flash freeze or something. Doesn't appear to. Look at all these free cards. Feels good having free cards. I feel like we should have played this game fairly differently. I've been forgetting over and over again that we actually have Hallowed. And I feel like there's something we could have done with it. We weren't big enough to be able to Hallowed attack into the Eclipse Dragon and get the takedown, but I feel like we might have been missing something there. What you gonna do with that last six mana, the gaming orange? You're not wearing your green today, are you? Not today. No greens, he says. Alright, Ripperino Aatrox. Not that big of a deal. We'll get him back next turn. I want to get some of these dum-dums on board. We're gonna tumble off the Striatu, right? We got 9 cards in hand. Tumble will drop us to 8. And then after the attack, we'll go back up. No equipment. We're gonna get that Aatrox down. All right, some more freebies. Nothing better than free cards, am I right? Go ahead and deploy that block, my friend. You got to do it. You got to do it. All right, Boisterous Host in. All looks good. Now we're going to have 9 mana. We got 1 for the Darkened Blade, 8 for the World Ender, and then we should be good to go in terms of getting our Aatroxian friends on the board. Oh, Jarvan. We got the mana for all this stuff. The space in hand. We got 9 cards. Okay, this isn't the space I'm used to having to deal with. All right, so Aatrox in feels good. Now we'll look to just drop some Darkens on the next turn. Hopefully be calling it a day. Tarash should just be enough, right? I don't remember all of the big units that have died this game, but I do like to imagine that Tarash is enough. See if we get Supernova'd here. Supernova'd be a real pain in the dick. In the butt. I got a kitty cat coming over here. Alright. Manageable. Fallen Comet, not so bad. Supernova would have been bad. There we have it. A little sloppy, but victory achieved. Good job. Everyone say bust. This is why you're #1 in the world according to ftpbust.com. You're right. You're spot on. You're spot on. All right. Next battle. Ooh. A little sloppy. We've got to clean things up before the old Runeterra Open gets here. But man, it still gets me. It's like I'm never someone that's very good at like week 1 of the format. It's just like I have to really come in and just grind out like 100 games of a deck to get really familiar with it, and then feel fairly experty from that point forward. But whenever these new formats come out, it takes me quite a bit of time to work through it. And with it being something like Singleton, where there's just so much random stuff, it can be a little challenging for me. All right, not a bad start though. Kept the Badger Bear along with some useful equipments. Then we mulligan down into the Redeemer. That's good. Playing against what should be Gangplank Sejuani based deck, and I don't think they're going to try and aggro us early to get those Gangplank level ups across the game, but I don't think it's a game to where we have to be super concerned about it coming together. Now, a miss for opponent. Do we actually want to stop this Mirai Warden? That's kind of interesting. I'm gonna be a little greedy here and just go ahead and let it fall through. I can definitely see an argument for getting that block in though. I'm gonna try and do something with catch. As far as this board is concerned, we should have been able to we should have been able to just catch the equipment onto the Prodigy. Can't do that now that he's added such a big unit, but I don't think it's that much of a problem. And how does this guy work when you summon another Yordle? I bet we're safe from the Yordles. We're not seeing any what's her name? Nora. Nora's not hanging out in the champion list over here. Alright, let's keep that board clear. He's got his champions up to 2 ticks at this point. We'll add in the Badger Bear. And our board looks pretty decent from here. Oh, if he's playing Shared Spoils, just dropping value cards, he must have an expensive hand.
I never miss.
He's spending his yordles. the stats are gonna fall off, bro. Don't be wasting your yordles. All right, but nice addition with Quinn. We can look to catch a Darkened Spear onto the Valor, then have a good combat from this point forward. I dig it. Bird, Spear. Counterspell the Parlay while we're at it. Good stuff. So give me them stats. Give me them abilities. I dig it. See if he wants to come in with a Gangplank after this. He's pushing forward a spell. I was going to say, if this is a Three Sisters, that's completely fine. Pretty heavy investment in this. So now that we have Quinn on the board, do we want to get a second attack? I don't think so. She's not really close to flipping at this point. I think it's a little bit more interesting with her in the sense of, can we get a like Cataclysm or a Tumble to get a free attack token back? Right, though I wasn't wanting to have to Concerted Strike something like Alpha Wild Claw, but that's apparently the world we live in now. At least he should be done with his mana, so we'll put the equipment onto Quinn, send her right into combat, get those scout attacks happening. See if we can't get something cool happening from here. I mean, at least after this, we are in the space to where we're just going to start playing Darken. So if we can get him to backpedal a little bit on this turn and then get the Anaka and whatnot on the board afterwards, I'm pretty okay with that. So I'm going to put the Spear on the Badger Bear. I'm going to put a Lodestone onto the Prodigy. And then we're going to try and take down this Leviathan. Hit it with the Fish Fight. I think I'm a little bit more worried about the Leviathan than I am the Swain. I think. It's a bummer. Alright, we'll give up on it for the turn. Swain is like super far away from flipping, so that's a relevant thing to take note of here. Double check, still at Hallowed 0. Swain. I see the Swain like come up and I'm like, he's got to be so close to flipping, right? That's the way these games always sequence. Nope. Nope, nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. All right, let's get this party rolling. We'll see if the Naganika can actually kill anything here. This board's not that scary. This should be enough to keep him from attacking, though. Right? If he wants to attack and we block with the Naganika, we'll kill a unit at the end of combat. And then next turn, we can still look to get some magic going with the Fish Fight and the like. So this will return the Darkened Spear back to hand. Then we'll put Anaka on the board. Try and get those attacks punching through. Heal the rush. Fucking A. Okay. So that's going to be both Gangplank and Sejuani. They're not going to be flipped. I've lost track of the turns. Oh shit, they're going to be flipped. Oh, fuck me. I don't know if we can outdo a Feel the Rush here. It's not even so much that they're 10-10s. The problem is the Sejuani. Then the other thing I'm kind of looking at is we can like attack into this powder keg and make some shenanigans happen. I just think that's it's a little much. We got something good. Phantom Butler, not exactly the good we were looking for. Not exactly it. Fucking feel the rush. I've considered if I want to play cards like the Harrowing. I just haven't really found it. Like, we're already playing so much, like, just big expensive stuff, it's never really felt necessary, but we're just gonna get savaged by this now. And oh boy, that counts as, that doesn't count as combat damage, so the Swain gets to flip. That's awesome. The interaction I didn't know existed. Where you at? Where'd you go? The strongest enemy and I strike each other. So that counts as non-combat damage. I don't know about that, Riot. I think you got a bug on your hands there. So we're just dead? That's what this amounts to? Fucking brutal. What a shitty way to go. But nonetheless, I think I am still reasonably happy with this deck. I know that we didn't have a full 6 winner here. We got stifled a little bit early, but I do like a lot of what the Shadow Isles add in. I'm really happy with this this Hallowed package. Just a matter of I got to get a little bit more used to it before the big day arrives. And so it's just like whenever we're looking at playing Shurima, and it's like, do I really want any of the cards in Shurima that aren't Rite of Negation? And it's like, not really, right? I mean, Action is fine. He gives us a decent amount of value. Sivir is okay, but we don't have a lot of great ways to pass her and overwhelm. Getting access to the predicts is pretty good. That was one of the other, kind of really nice things about being in Shurima. But outside of that, I wasn't really happy with anything. But in these games to where we're getting access to the various Hallowed cards, I've really felt like that's one of the things that can push this up over the edge and make our things like Laurent Protege much more relevant in the mid game when you get a couple of points of Hallowed attached to it, or even something, just any of the units, turning it from a 2-attack unit to a 5-attack unit can be a pretty big deal. And then we still have a fair amount of, say, quick attack units between like Gwen and Kindred and the like. And so I've been pretty happy with the switch there. It's just the numbers don't feel exactly right between just having the correct amount of value units like the Egghead Researcher, and then just the pure beefy stats like the blocking Badger Bear, because I do really suspect that we're going to see a lot of those Seraphine decks. I mean, we played against Seraphine for like the first 4 games of the matches, and that's where they can really struggle, is when they have to spend 2 and 3 removal spells or a block and a removal spell or whatever to kill one of our big units like the Badger Bear. And that's something that I would like to be able to present a little bit more of. And so I'm going to dig in and look a little bit more, see if we can't tweak a card or two. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with the Shadow Isles version. And it's what you should be seeing us playing in our upcoming open videos. And so, nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. I had fun. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. So this is Bustin' Weed. Thank you for being here.